We'll start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We have seen 25 verses of chapter 10 of Panchadasi. Last week, we did verse number 24, 25, in which the method of realizing this Sakshi, our real nature, was mentioned. This chapter is all about realizing our true self. The Upanishads teach us that we are Sakshi Swabhava. Sakshi means it is not participating in the Vyavahara. Avyavahara Atma. The whole chapter is devoted to help us in our own self, in our own buddhi, to reach a conclusion about our own nature. So these are all experiential teaching in the sense that you should apply it to yourself. It is an adhyasmic teaching, but it has to be applied either when we are listening the teaching itself, or we can meditate on these verses. You can take one verse at a time, two verses in a time. At any time, just read the verse, close your eyes, meditate on the meaning of the verse. That way, your search of the self gets energy to move forward day by day. Otherwise, we are stuck in one corner and we don't know how to go further. So the 24th verse said, how do I grasp this Sakshi? There, the author said, Vidyaranya, don't worry to grasp it. Your objective is not to grasp the Atma or Sakshi, because it can never be grasped. What are the means available to us to grasp anything in this life? Our sense organs of knowledge, sense organs of action, or our mind. Now, none of these three instruments can be used to identify with Atma, because they are born, they are sustaining, and they resolve in Atma. So the knowledge of these three, the mind, the sense organs, are originating from Atma, exist in Atma, and resolve in Atma. That knowledge you should apply. So here he said in the 24th verse, then the duality of the knower and the known. When does this come to an end? Throughout our waking state, the knower is always present. I am the Pramata, I am the knower. I am the ego, which is experiencing the body and the world. The world is known, body is known, I, the ego, the reflection of consciousness, is the knower. And what he said was, in the state of sleep, when I am not operating this body, At that time, you try to realize your true nature. Not in the state of sleep, but trying to remember your sleep state in the waking state. So when I close my eyes, I say, who was I in the sleep state? I didn't have this body, I didn't have the world experience, but I was existing. So the knower body and the knower mind was not there in the sleep state, it was sleeping. At that time, what was the nature of myself? That nature, Vidyaranya says, is your true nature. He is only trying to explain to us what has been taught in the Upanishads. This has all, the teaching is all in the Upanishad. Now he is trying to explain to us how to realize the teaching in us. So when the knower and the known duality comes to an end, what remains is the self. These are very, very important verses of Panchadasi. It can be meditated. These verses you can use for meditation. You can note it down. And whenever you have doubts about how to realize the Atma, go through these important verses, especially 24, 25, and 26. The 25th verse said that nature of that Sakshi is self-evident, which he has been stressing throughout the chapter. And it is self-existent. It does not need any proof at all. So in the meditation seat, you can only say, I am the Atma, I exist by myself, I am self-evident. I don't need any other means. Where do I get this knowledge from? He says this knowledge comes from the Shruti. Shruti means the Veda Pramana. Several Vedas are there, several Pramanams are there. Tattvamasi is one of the Pramanam. Aham Atma Brahma is another Pramanam. Aham Brahmasmi. All these are saying that Sakshi doesn't need any proof. It is our own nature, without the body, without the mind, without the world. That is the 25th verse. The 26th verse is what we are going to do today. Here, let us try to listen to the chanting.
यदि सर्वग्रहत्यागो अशक्यस्तर्हि धियं व्रज अशक्यस्तर्हि धियं व्रज शरणं तदधीनो अन्तः शरणं तदधीनो अन्तः बहिर्वैशो अनुभूयताम् Bahirvaisho anubhuyatam.
So what he says in this verse is, in the previous verse, he said, you try to drop the duality. Whenever the duality is gone, realize your nature. Now he says, suppose you are not able to drop the duality, you don't have that mental strength to go to that sleep state, drop the duality and realize Atma. Then he says, I give you another solution. Here he says another solution is, don't try to drop duality. In the waking state itself, you reflect on the nature of consciousness as the witness principle of your mind. See, we all have the mind, we all experience our thoughts. We all experience our emotions. That is internal. Externally, the sense organs are perceiving. form and color, sound, touch. Now, both this is knowledge coming into the mind. The knowledge of the emotions, the knowledge of the thoughts, the knowledge of the concepts, ideations, knowledge of the world in the form of form, color, sound, all this is knowledge. Whenever you are having this knowledge, ask the question, who am I? I am that consciousness, witness principle. Who is the witness, uninvolved witness of this entire Jagat? So this is the beautiful verse. The two methods to realize Sakshi is, number one, renounce the perceptible duality was mentioned in the 25th verse. If you can't do that, the 26th verse says, realize the witness consciousness, the Sakshi of all internal and external creations of the Buddhi. Why do we say the external is also a creation of the Buddhi? Because ultimately all the perceptions are received by the Buddhi in the form of thoughts, vritti. All our cognitions in the world take place in the medium of mind, which is the medium of thoughts. In the sleep state, there is no medium of thoughts. In the dream state, there is a medium of thought, which is a slightly lower form of experience. In the waking state is the full blast of thoughts, which is experienced. That we can know. In the waking state, I have knowledge of all the world through vritti, in vritti form. In the dream state, I have the knowledge of only the mind. My sense organs are closed. And then I have a sleep state in which both the internal and external knowledge gets wiped out. And I'm still there. So here he gives us the easier method to remain in Jagrat Avastha as a witness to all the internal and external activities of the mind. Shruti says, I who obtains in the silence is Sakshi. Does the Sakshi participate? No. The constant churning in your mind of thoughts and thoughts and thoughts, or emotions, or somebody talking inside your mind, the voice which you hear, that is all anatma. It is not the Atma. Atma is only the witness. So make use of this. What I make use of the mind, when I make use of the mind, I am called as Pramata. Understand this extremely clearly. Very important. Many times we try to understand Vedanta or what is revealed in the Upanishad without understanding the difference between Sakshi and Pramata. What is the difference? The same mind, when it is not in front of the sense organs, the same mind becomes Sakshi, because there is no more perceptions coming out of the world, and neither there is any perception of itself. Sakshi itself becomes the mind itself becomes the Sakshi. Therefore, the world is coming from the self. The self and the world are not two different creations. It is one appearing as the other. That is the fundamental of Advaita Vedanta. So the two modes are Pramata mode and Sakshi mode. In the Pramata mode, what happens? Vyavahara takes place. Vyavahara in the form of waking, dream, sleep. Unreal nature of the Sakshi. The mind is dynamic. Inside the body, outside the body, the mind becomes dynamic when Vyavahara is taking place. But it is not my real nature. That is what is the Shruti telling us all the time. We get caught up in samsara, we get caught up in our worries, without knowing that I have another superior nature, which is neither the waker, neither the dreamer, neither the sleeper. It is the Sakshi of the three states of the mind. That Sakshi Anubhava is in silence. There is no sound. There is no activity. It is all alone by itself. It is neither inside the body, neither outside the body, but both inside and outside exist in that pure consciousness. It reveals both. Cognitively, it is understood as my real intrinsic nature. The easiest form of understanding the nature of Sakshi is I am the Sakshi of the sleep state. As mentioned in Mandukya Upanishad, verse 5 and 6, this is a very important clue. I would say the most important clue given to us to realize our nature is this clue from Mandukya Upanishad. Throughout many commentaries of the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads, again and again, one point which comes as a salient feature is be a witness of that Sakshi, of that sleep state as your real nature. All of us can realize it. It is a truth. There is nothing more. It is the fact which I'm trying to discover. So far, it was covered for me. I'm removing that cover because I'm learning the Shruti. I apply the Shruti principle. So here he says, if you can't drop the mental operation by practicing samadhi, silence, use your own analytical capacity, study your own anubhava, your own experience in avastha trayam. Samadhi Adhyasa requires a lot of practice. Samadhi means what? I try to drop all the thoughts in the mind, emptying your mind and making it completely zero. No more projection of the mind. It is possible. Yogis have done it, but very difficult. It requires a lot of time. Keep on sitting in meditation daily. Observe your thoughts, it will come down. Observe your thoughts, it will come down. Again, observe your thoughts, it will come down. But it takes time. The mind will become pure. For sure, it will become pure. But the knowledge of the Shruti is not to keep that as the goal. That means what? Not to keep emptying the mind as a goal. At some point, when you are able to see your thoughts, you apply the second rule. The second rule is mind is mithya. It's a false entity which comes and goes. This is also given by the Shruti. Svetashvarataro Upanishad clearly says mind is maya. Maya is mithya. Mithya means it is an appearance without a reality. So, We study in Jagrat, I am the Sakshi only in Sushupti. I am the reflected consciousness in the waking state and the dream state. Why do I say reflected consciousness? Because the mind is with the reflection of consciousness together with it, both in the waking state and in the dream state. But I am not this. Chandogya Upanishad, 8th chapter, Prajapati Vidya, very important. When we do the Upanishads on Saturday classes, you can realize and learn the teaching. It is also the 8th chapter of Chandogya is also on the 3 states of consciousness, where you meditate on each avastha and say, this is not true. This is not the truth. Waking is not the truth. Dream is not the truth. Sleep is not the truth. There, the Creator asks the students to meditate in each of these avasthas for 24 years. And then he says, you will realize Atma is your true nature. Let us at least meditate for 24 days. This is the only way to realize our true nature. See, many times we will understand, but that doesn't remain as my true nature all the time. Several times questions are asked by the seekers. They say that, yes, I can understand that's my true nature, but how do I hold on to it? Hold on to it. Nishtha. The holding on is possible in 2 ways. Either you repeat Aham Brahmasmi, that is given as one of the methods. Second method is repeatedly dwelling on this subject matter through the Upanishadic statements again and again. Panchadasi is a great text to remind ourselves of this truth, till it becomes firm. Like a plant, when it is growing up, you put a fencing around it so that it is protected. So the knowledge needs to be protected first, till it becomes strong, firm. Then anytime anybody asks you, you will never have a doubt about yourself. So as Sakshi, I am Brahman. Brahman is another word, another term used in the scriptures. It's about the same entity. Once you have learned how to free yourself from the 3 states, there is only one entity, which is the ultimate. You can call it Sakshi, you can call it Brahman, you can call it Ishvara. All this mean the same thing. We take shelter in our analyzing capacity when we try to follow this method of understanding our nature. If I'm not male, human person, who am I? I am the universal power, which is called as Sakshi. This Sakshi, why is it called as a power? Because it is required. Whenever we experience the world, without this universal power, the spark, we will not be able to experience the world. When mind blows through, it's not the mind, it is the wind, just correct it. When wind blows through bamboo with holes dug by insects, there is a natural flute music in the forest. See, many times, of course, many of you may not have experienced this. If you go to a forest and if you see bamboo trees there, sometimes what happens is insects go and create holes in the bamboo. And when the wind blows through these holes, there is a natural music which is heard in the forest. So similarly, This example, see, such a beautiful example. It says our body and mind medium becomes alive when that eternal power of that Sakshi gets reflected or it goes through these sense organs in the mind. The mind manifests, resolves according to the law of karma, which is prarabdha. All our experiences are because of the law of karma. We go through the law of karma in our life, at the same time realize that is a lower nature. My higher nature is not the law of karma, it is this Sakshi principle. Sarvagraha tyage. Sarvagraha tyage means I don't hold on to any conception about myself. I am a female, I am a male, I am old, I am young. I was born on so-and-so date. These are all adhyasa. Dharma adhyasa, dharmi adhyasa. Superimposition, which we are studying in our Saturday classes. Very, very important. I see this teaching of Panchadasi and Adhyasa Bhashyam, they go hand in hand. If you understand the Adhyasa Bhashyam, you will understand the Panchadasi text easily. Or the Upanishads, you will understand very easily. So our Wednesday and Saturday classes in the next 2 years, you will find that they will go hand in hand. Understanding one will help you to understand the other. When we do the chapter 3 of Panchadasi, you will understand the nature of Adhyasa better. Dhiraha. Dhira means a courageous person, a viveki, intellect which can discriminate. What is the meaning of discrimination? Just now I said, in your own mind, discriminate between the waking, dream, and sleep states. All of us can do it because it is our own nature. We are all experiencing the 3 states. Discriminate clearly, distinctly. That is the method of learning our nature. Again and again, let the mind think about the waking, dream, sleep, and adhyasa, which is happening in all the 3 states. Drop the adhyasa, drop the superimposition, and realize I am the ever-free Atma. Then I am liberated here and now. No more waiting for the body to fall. I realize I am free, ever free, nitya muktaha. That is what Vedanta teaches us. You don't have to go to heaven to realize realization. Here and now, sarva graha tyaga ashakyaha. Ashakya means if you find it difficult to rise above the definition about yourself being a Sakshi, mind always thinks male gender or female gender as our intrinsic nature. I am this body. That is Adhyasa. That is a superimposition. It is an error. Drop the error and be free. How do I drop it? Repeatedly study your nature. Examine it. Apply the logic of the Shruti. You will then realize I am Sakshi. Again and again, apply it to yourself. I am not the Stula Shariram. I am not the Sukshma Shariram. I am not the Karana Shariram. I am not the Jagrata Avastha, waker. I am not the Swapna Avastha, experiencer. I am not the sleeper. I am the Turiya Atma. In sense organs, emotions, thoughts, ego, Atma, Panchabhutas, there is no gender, but we take gender to be intrinsic. You see, Atma doesn't have gender. Our thoughts don't have gender. The I thought does not have a gender by itself. But when it is contact with the body, it says, I'm a male, I'm a female. This is what is Adhyasa. If you give up all the definitions brought about by Adhyasa, by superimposition, you are liberated here and now. Tarhi buddhau sharanam anvichya. You take refuge in the buddhi. Bhagavad Gita very clearly says this. Durena yavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanam anvichya kripana phala hetavaha. The same word anvichya is used. What Vidyaranya is using, Lord Krishna used the same words. So the wisdom of knowledge is higher compared to the wisdom of action. Take Sharanam under this intellect. I am not this intellect, I am not the body. Karmas cannot liberate you. It will help you to purify the mind if performed with the right attitude. So all karma yoga, upasana yoga, bhakti yoga, they are all meant for purification of the mind instrument. Each one of us has got this instrument in this body. With the help of this instrument only, I can move in spirituality. Antar bahirva eshaha anubhuyatam. Antarva bahirva. Internally or externally, use the power of intellect to discriminate the three states of consciousness. Kathopanishad says this Atma is hidden. It cannot be seen by our normal eyes. But there are jnanis who have got a superior, sharp intellect, who have purified the mind. They are able to see it. Because when you apply the Shruti Vakyam in a superior, fine intellect, the intellect accepts it. Intellect accepts it. Very important point. Why the purification is important? Today I was having a conversation with somebody, almost 1 hour conversation with a seeker, new seeker. He called me from Dallas in Texas, and he said, I have been a student, but I don't know how to accept this formless God, which is described in the Vedas. I don't have a method. I don't know. I'm trying through various means. I've gone through YouTube, I've gone through this, I've gone through so many different channels. I told him only one thing. There is only one method by which you can realize the truth. Purify the mind first and then hear. What is purification of mind? It can happen through different ways. By chantings, Lalita Sahasranama Stotram, Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram, listening to the Bhagavad Gita with an attitude of Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga. These are all the preparations. A gross mind which is externally attractive to the world cannot be the instrument to realize Atma. We must be very clear, then we will know how to progress in spirituality. Do not allow the mind to cover up the truth. Train the mind, dhyam sharanam braja. As sattvic mind gets illuminated by the study of Shastras, it becomes transparent. Otherwise, it is an opaque mind. It is like a wall. You cannot penetrate the wall to see what lies beyond the wall. Whereas if the glass, the wall is transparent, if the mind is transparent, you can see what lies beyond the mind. That's what is explained in this diagram below. A mind which is transparent is called as sattvic mind. Sattva guna pradhanam, chapter 14 of the Bhagavad Gita. Sattva pradhanam means it can grasp the knowledge very fast. What about rajoguna? It cannot grasp the knowledge. What about tamoguna? Impossible. So make the mind sattvic, then you receive the Atma Jnanam Tattvamasi from the Upanishad. That Tat and that Tvam is understood clearly if the mind is ready. Mind purified by understanding. We have to use logic, the Shruti logic, to purify the mind, to make our understanding much more stronger. That is why texts like Panchadasi are very, very important for study. The mind which is opaque is an ignorant mind. It is tamasic mind. The guna is very, very strong. It will be lazy, it will not understand, and it will misunderstand. For a mind which is not ready, it is a waste of time meditating, because you would not know what to meditate on. Antaha bahihi, division is caused by senses and the ignorant mind. You discover the Atma, Ishvara within and without. This consciousness which is inside this body as a witness of all the thoughts. This consciousness which is outside the body as the Sat principle, existence principle, everywhere. This is there, this is there, this is there. Inside and outside, it is the same consciousness. It is not two different consciousness. That is why we say Advaitam is the truth. You close the eyes, see within, open the eyes, see without, the same Sat Chit Ananda principle. We see within the faculty of intellection in Jagrat and Swapna. Without the faculty of the intellect, we experience that in the Sushupti as the witness of Sushupti. Always remember, it is not the ignorant state by itself. That is what is called as avidya state. But in that avidya state, who is the Sakshi? You have to go beyond that avidya state of ignorance and say, there is a Sakshi, there is a light principle. It is a spiritual light, not a material light. My sense organs cannot perceive it. My mind cannot perceive it, but it exists. And I experience it. It is there. Only Shruti tells me, comes here forward to tell me, I am that principle. It is not an object, it is a subject. If you close your eyes and with this knowledge, if you meditate, I give a guarantee that you will know who you are as the spiritual principle. It's very, it exists. The pure consciousness, awareness is there. Remember, it is a fact of this universe. Whether your senses can perceive it or not, it exists. That is the absolute I. That is the avyavaharyam turiyam I. That is the shantam I. What we are looking for is this Sakshi Chaitanyam principle throughout our life. We are searching for that, not knowing that I myself am that Sakshi. The only way is to drop our imaginations of trying to project God in a particular form and realize the projector himself is the real God. Keno Upanishad very clearly says it is the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind, the tongue of the tongue. It is the life principle in all of us. What is the life behind the eyes? Sakshi. What is the life behind the speech? Sakshi. What is the life principle behind the mind? It is this Sakshi. What is the life behind the prana? It is this Sakshi. I. Without the medium, that is the truth. Knowing this I without the medium is knowing yourself to be immortal. The knower himself is immortal. He is seeing his own nature as immortal nature. It is not the body. Body has come, but Sakshi has not come and gone. It remains the same. There is a power of Atma reflected in the eyes. Therefore, there is eyesight. Similarly, like we have the bulb glows because of the electricity principle, the eyes glow, the ears are able to hear, all because of this one power. It is an universal power which is called as Ishvara. That Ishvara is there in this body. Ishvara is there in all the bodies. This is the vision of wisdom. Within and without, it is all one power of Chaitanyam alone, Advaitam alone, Atma alone. This power of our awareness drives the mind and the sense organs. It is the power behind the 5 elements. It is the power behind the sun, moons, all the stars, the galaxies, everything in creation. We see the glory of Vishwarupa, Ishvara, in this way. What way? The Sakshi itself is this whole world. The world is nothing but Sakshi. Sakshi is nothing but the world. There is only one Advaitam principle, Atma Chaitanyam. It is this power which makes my heart throb. It makes my intellect think. The moment I am identified with it, I am no more a Sakshi. I am myself called as Brahman. We use 2 words in the scriptures. Brahman is when the world is not in front of me. I myself am called Brahman. Remember, what is the difference? When I am not experiencing the world, when is that? In the Sushupti Avastha. So in the Sushupti, who am I? Brahman. Who am I in the waking state? Sakshi. When do I use the word Sakshi? When the world is in front. What world is in front? Either the Stula Shariram, either a Sukshma Sharira, or Karma Sharira. It is the same one principle. Witnessing is only an intermediary stage. The final stage of liberation is in Ishvara's hands. I bow down. This is where Bhagavad Gita says, Sarva dharman parityajya. All dharmas of the body, the dharmas of the mind, dharmas of the Karana Sharira, Stula Sharira Dharma, which is birth and death, I drop it. Sukshma Sharira Dharmas, joy, sorrow, anger, passion, all this I drop. Karana Sharira Dharmas, Punyam, Papam, drop it. These are the 3 Adhyasas, superimpositions. Through the study of the 10th chapter, I have learned how to drop these 3 Adhyasas and realize I am ever free Atma. That is the beauty of this chapter. The conclusion is Sakshi survives end of all transactions in Sushupti. The student feels, I have to go into Samadhi, remove all the thoughts. The Guru says, don't worry, don't have to go to Samadhi. In your own heart, Atma Tvam Girija Matim. This is a very beautiful shloka by Shankaracharya. This Sakshi is there as in your body, in the temple of your body. The body is taken as a temple. In the Hridaya Graham, this Sakshi is there. The God which you are trying to seek outside is there in your own heart. You only have to have the eye to see that God through the study of Panchadasi. I don't need to do pradakshina in a temple. I can do the pradakshina in my own mind by worshipping that Atma principle in this body. This is mental worship of the truth. In Sushupti, Sakshi continues. That continuing principle is called as Anvaya. What doesn't continue is the Pramata, which is Vyatireka. So by Anvaya and Vyatireka, the method, the technique of trying to see what is constantly there without a break, what is constantly there is Sakshi, the pure light of consciousness, illumining all my experiences. In the three states, I learned to drop the three states, which are experiences of the mind. The changeless principle, I hold on. The invariable principle, I hold on. This is what was said in the Dakshinamurti Stotram. Sarva avasthas sopi balyadishu jagridadishu sarvatha. All the states, whether I am young, whether I am old, whether I am sick, whether I am healthy, whether I am sad, whether I am happy, all the time, what is it which is shining all the time, illumining the body, illumining my thoughts all the time? It is this Atma. That is called as the real I. I, the self, and this I, who makes it aware? No, there is no principle. It is self-aware, self-evident. This principle is all-pervading. All-pervading means it is there everywhere in creation, at all times, at all places, infinite in nature. With the world, without the world. With the world in Jagrat and Swapna, without the world in Sushupti. It is always there, shining, self-existing. This is the way to meditate on Atma. The world will not affect me. Me here stands for Atma. The world is Mithya, Maya, or Kalpitam. They all mean the same. The world is nothing but Kalpitam. Kalpitam means what? It comes and goes. It is a projection of Ishvara. Ishvara is projecting the whole cosmos. For whom? For all the jivas. To realize what? To realize that they are all one principle in this universe, which is this Atma. I am Satya Atma, Jagan Mithya. That means Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. So that is the end of the 10th chapter. I'll try to quickly give you a summary in a short time. You already know all this. 24 verses are there, 26 verses, there's a correction here. 26 verses are there, 5 topics. The first topic is the necessity of inquiry. we all must inquire, what is this Atma? That was covered from verse 1 to 5. Then the second topic was, what are the constituents of transactions? The three constituents, Pramata, Pramanam, Prameya. We studied that in detail from verse 6 to 16. Then there was an example of a dancing hall. And we compared the light with Atma. That is the most important thing. The light is like this Atma, ever glowing. When the dance program goes on in the Vyavahara, in the waking state, the light is on. When the dance program is finished, the sleep in the Sushupti Avastha, the light is still there, exposing the unmanifest form of the world. That was 11 to 15. The nature of Sakshi was explained from 16 to 23. Avyavaharyam, is the main feature. Sakshi does not come into Vyavahara. Always aloof, always aloof. So whenever you want to step back, if you get caught up in samsara, what you have to do, you have to only take one step back and say, I am Sakshi. You will be able to control your situation well. Get involved in Vyavahara because that is the Pramata. But if you get too much caught up, take a step backwards. How do you realize this Sakshi is what we have seen? 24, 25, 26, 3 verses. By being uninvolved witness, by knowing the witness of the internal and the external functions of the intellect, by knowing that I am the self-evident principle. So this is the summary of the whole chapter. What each of these sections are, I have just explained it. It's quite easy. You can go through it yourself. I have already done the revision once. The necessity of inquiry is Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara is the 3 facets which we need to inquire upon. We need to inquire about our 3 experiences which we have in waking, dream, and sleep. Constituents of the actions are Pramata, Pramanam, Prameyam. Without these 3 constituents, there is no activity at all. There is no world without Triputi. Who is this Jiva? The Jiva is trapped in this Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti consists of 2 Shaktis. One is the Vikshepa Shakti of the mind, in which we get caught up. And then there is an Avarna Shakti of Maya, which covers the Atma. Therefore, I take the body as me, the mind as me. I can't change the body or mind, but I can understand I am not the Jiva Samsari. I am the Paramarthika Jiva, which is Sakshi. How to drop this? Discriminate the dream state, discriminate the waking state, understand both the states are mithya, appearances only. Hold on to that illuminating Sakshi principle and realize the truth. Athatho Brahma Jignasa. Athatho Brahma Jignasa, this is the first sutra, Brahma Sutra. After we study the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita, the Prasthana Trayam tells us we must study the Brahma Sutras. There are 500 sutras. This is the first sutra, which tells us you must inquire on this Sakshi. The second topic was about the constituents. I have gone through it. Then Pramata is supposed to be the knower. What is the Pramata? What is the Pramanam? Prameyam? We know all this. You can just read through these notes. You will understand. They're simple. Pramanam is the buddhi. Pramata is the subject. Prameyam is the objects in creation, which are 5 in number. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. And these Prameyam is made up of 5 gross elements. And who is experiencing this? It is the Sukshma Shariram, the mind which is experiencing the Prameyam. In what form? Through the vritti form, through the thought form, cognitions form. So without vrittis, there is no world. Without the mind, there is no world. So what makes this world mind operate? That is the light of consciousness, the spiritual light. By mere presence, this spiritual light illumines the mind, and through the mind, it illumines the sense organs and the world. This Pramata, the I which you experience in the waking state, is only a channelizer. It borrows the sentiency, it borrows the knowingness from consciousness. Like when you open the water in your tap, the tank which has got water up above, that is the holder, like the Atma, the light, which is the holder of all this. What comes out through this thing, that the pipe, the tap is only a channelizer. It only channels the light of consciousness to experience the world. Kathopanishad beautifully describes Natatra Suryo Bhati. It means that light in which there is no sun, no moon, no fire. Normally, these are the sources, or the lightning. These are the sources of illumination in the material world. In the spiritual world, none of this exists. It is self-evident by itself. For the transactions, we need this spiritual light. Without the spiritual light, there is no transaction. And the nature of this Sakshi is, it is without any parts, without any gunas, without any movement. It is called as Purushaha. 11 to 15, as I said, was about the example, who is the king, who is the dancing girl, what is the audience, orchestra, all this is mentioned. Then the nature of Sakshi, which we have seen, it is bright, it is illumining, it is ever present. That is the nature of Sakshi. With or without Vyavahara, it is there. The unique feature of Sakshi was mentioned. The most important factor is it is avyavaharyam. It can exist by itself. How to realize this Sakshi? Verse 24 to 26, a very beautiful section. The Sishya asks, how to know this Sakshi? Guru says, you can't know the Sakshi. The Sishya is very disappointed. Then Sakshi must be a bluff. If I can't know Sakshi through my sense organs, I think this Sakshi doesn't exist. Guru says you can't know Sakshi, you can't say Sakshi is non-existent also. Why? Because you yourself are the Sakshi. You're searching your own true self. You can never find it. You can only say, I am the Sakshi. Then the Sishya says, how do I say I am Sakshi? I am now the Pramata. I am now experiencing the world. I am an experiencer of the world. Then the Guru says, you are Sakshi, but temporarily enjoying the status of Pramata. Why is this? Because temporarily, for a few hours, you are attached to your mind, and then you see this Jagrat and Sopna. What is your real nature? The real nature is drop your Pramata status, the knower status of the world, you drop it. And then what do? I claim Sakshi, which is the Nitya Muktaha, ever liberated. That is my real nature. Holding on to this Pramata status, you can never know the Sakshi. That is what the Guru is teaching. So all people in meditation who want to see God in front of them are doing a mistake. They're trying to bring a God which cannot be brought in front, because the knower of that God in front is the real Sakshi, is the real Atma. So dropping the Pramata status, the Guru says, be the Sakshi. Then the Guru, Sishya says, Sishya, how to drop this Pramata status? So it's so difficult. Guru then says, your active nature is Pramata. It has a knowing process of the sense organs and the mind. Remain silent. You will be with your nature. You drop the knowing process mentally, sensorily, not physically. Let the body actions continue, but in your own mind, remember, this is not me. Cognitively, try to silence your mind. Whatever activities are going at the body level is due to prarabdha. Nothing belongs to me. It is a law of karma. Then the Sishya says, when I'm silent, I am Sakshi. How do I know? Who reveals this Sakshi in silence? See, such a beautiful question and answer session is possible between 24, 25, 26. All the three verses is now put in a Q&A form. It makes it so easy and understanding. The Guru says, the silent Sakshi need not be revealed. Why? Because it is self-evident. Don't try to search for a light to make that evident. Swata Prakasha, Swata Pramanam does not need any proof. It is self-evident in nature. What is Sakshi's definition? Whatever is self-evident without requiring proof is Sakshi. When I'm silent, I am there, does not require proof. I exist. You just remain silent. When you are silent, what happens? You realize, Aham Atma Asmi. All of us experience this Sakshi in our sleep every day. Then the Sishya says, oh, Guruji, I have only one last question. You are right. But I'm not able to drop the knowing process of the mind. How can I remain silent and go to Samadhi Avastha? How can I remain as Sakshi? Then the final answer of the Guru is, natural silence is given by God daily to experience. Through Avastatraya Viveka, may you claim, O Sishya, I am the Sakshi of the three states. You can only claim in Jagrata Avastha, not in Susupti Avastha or in the Swapna Avastha. Because those avasthas are not in your hands. In Jagrat, I am Sakshi with an overcoat of Pramata, Ahamkara, ego, I. I temporarily put on the coat for Vyavahara, for transactions, but I am the Sakshi all the time. I put on the knower status temporarily, and I claim the Sakshi, the original nature of mind, by pure discrimination of the three states, which belongs to the mind. It does not belong to Sakshi. I am all the time Sakshi only. Then the Guru says one last sentence. Have full Shraddha in the revelation of the self by the Shruti. Mandukya Upanishad clearly says, na anta prajnam na bahish prajnam. Remember, that statement is the truth. Have full faith in what the scriptures tell you about your nature and remain throughout your life as abiding in this principle. When silence happens in daily sleep, I remain as Sakshi. I was not aware before. Now, after this Sakshi, the Guru's words of revelation, I have become aware of my own nature. I am the Paramarthika Satya Sakshi, supporting and revealing all the Vyavahara in the waking state, in the dream state, in the sleep state. I claim myself as a Sakshi. I enjoy this Jivan Mukti status here and now. In transactions, I don't say I am Sakshi, I transact as the Pramata. Understanding I am Sakshi with Pramata quote is the essence of the 10th chapter of Panchadasi. So last week there was a question, how do I remain in this world doing things? This is exactly what I was telling the seeker that time. Remain in the world, but only say, I am now working, serving the people with the Pramata code, the ego I code. It is only a code which I can just drop it. Whenever I want it, I can drop it. If I can remember, I am the Sakshi. Ever evident, self-evident Sakshi. This is a beautiful chapter, one of the brilliant chapters of Vidyaranya Swami. 15 chapters, I consider this chapter to be the most beneficial, easy to understand, and implement in life. It has got a wonderful method of revealing Atma. I'm sure each one of you have, with this last dialogue between the Shishya and the Guru, I'm sure you have realized your true nature. The Shishya does Namaskaram and leaves the Guru with a heart filled with gratitude and joy. Mayeva sakalam jatam by sarvam pratishtitam. He is brimming with joy. There is nothing in the world which gives fulfillment except this knowledge of Sakshi. Here you learn how to drop all your wrong notions and at the same time remain strong and firm, fearless. In your own nature, stand and be and enjoy the Jivan Mukta. I'm free, ever free. Okay, so we'll close today with this. I have given the other a little bit more notes. You can go through it on your own. I have already taken these notes before in the summary format. The 26 verses, each verse what it conveys, it is in the form of a note. This entire set of notes have already been circulated to you. It is 279 pages. of the 10th chapter of the Panchadasi. If you don't have it, you can write to us. You can get these notes. You have the videos of the sessions. Go through these videos again and again, and you will be able to understand this nature of Sakshi. That was the Panchadasi 10th chapter. We have finished today the 10th chapter. I will not do the meditation session today because I've taken extra 10 minutes. I will go straight to the Q&A session after the ending prayer. Next week we'll do the meditation session. Let this whole knowledge percolate. If you have any questions of this 10th chapter, you can revise through these 26 verses with the meanings again and again. And this is one of the best methods to practically realize the Sakshi. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Next week, we are going to start chapter 3 of Panchadasi. So, this chapter is an explanation of Taittiriya Upanishad, the Panchakoshas. Very beautiful chapter. We'll see how to go through the chapter, like how we did the 10th chapter. We'll do it thoroughly. We'll go verse by verse. And in that chapter, we will learn how to drop our identification with the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha, and own up Atma. We'll see that next week. Okay, now in case you have any questions, you can ask me now. Yes, go ahead.
Secretary, just one question. Just now you put up how to realize that I am the Sakshi.
Yes.
How to realize?
You realize Sakshi by saying, I am not the body.
I am not the body.
Yes. Close your eyes and say, I am not the body. Close your eyes and say, I am not the mind. And then you just remain silent. That's all. Don't think about anything in life. For 10 minutes, you just close your eyes and tell yourself, for 10 minutes, I am not going to be thinking about anything in the world. Nothing about my business, nothing about my family, nothing about what I should do tomorrow, what I have done, what I have not done, all that you stop. Try it. It is not easy. Your mind will not initially help you. But as you practice again and again, see, we have done so many meditations. All of you are now ready to sit down and say, I am that pure Sakshi. I am that Satchit Ananda. There is nothing else in the world except me. I am the substratum for the entire creation. Just for 5 minutes, even if not 10 minutes, suppose another thought comes in. Jacqueline, you have to go there tomorrow to go and have a nice lunch. Tell yourself, I will think about it tomorrow.
Yes. Wait, I have a question to ask you later.
Yeah. So okay. So you should try. Keep trying it. It's possible. People have done it. This whole chapter is telling us this is our nature. Like the Guru was saying in the end, have Shraddha, this is your nature. The scriptures will not tell a lie. It is Mother Shruti trying to teach her children, this is your nature, come to me. I am your abode. So that is how you do it, Bhavai. Anybody else has a question? Yeah, Jacqueline?
Yeah, Mr. Shekhar, I just realized it, okay, by listening to you. Today, it just prompted me to say, because time is not pure consciousness. Therefore, people were saying that timeless, you know, as a human being, we say 24/7, because it, in fact, is eternal. There's no time. And even though we are sleeping, the consciousness is there forever, right?
Yes.
So it's timeless. So that's why people were using the slogan, New York never sleep, or something never sleep. It's like, yes, this is the case, right?
Yes.
And then in the investment in Singapore, especially for the UOB investment, they put a slogan, effortless. To me, before I hear from you and everything, of course, I'm in the investment area also. I say, how can it be possible effortless, you know? And
Yes.
now I relate to what you say. In fact, like what you said, if it is Atma, everything is possible. It's just how you think.
Yes.
The mind is the problem. Of course, we cannot say we don't have mind. The mind is the issue.
Correct.
Okay. No, I'm just happy that today I just realized.
Fantastic. Well done.
The thing never sleep, you know. So I said, oh, yeah, because even though I have waking, sleeping, dreaming, and turiyam, and in fact they are all there, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's why I say, oh, I better say something. Okay, thank you, appreciate. I'm blessed to be in your class. Yeah,
Thank you, Jacqueline. You're expressing your joy of realizing the truth. That's all.
all right, man, I love it. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Anybody else?
Shikarji,
Yeah. Tell me.
you.
Yeah, Ramkumar, tell me.
Yeah, I just want to know this Adhyasa Bhasa, what you talk about, is nothing but the Sukshma Sharira, right?
Are you attending my class on Saturdays?
Yes.
Okay. Let me explain to you. Adhyasa means superimposition. Okay. How do I understand this superimposition? The way you understand is, your starting point should be very clear. The starting point is, I am pure awareness. All the time. Whether it is in I am in the sleep state, whether I'm in the waking state, whether I'm in the sleep state, whether I'm in the dream state. So your starting point is, I am the pure consciousness existence principle. This is the substratum. This is the holder. This is my real nature. Okay? What happens in the waking state? The mind becomes awake. The mind ignites the sense organs. It experiences the waking world. The entire Jagrat Avastha, the whole waking state, including the time, including the space, including my body, my mind, everything is an adhyasa. It is a superimposition on me, the Atma. This is the waking state. Next comes the dream state. In the dream state, I am the pure awareness. I am always there. I am of the nature of timelessness. spaceless. It is the spiritual light. It is the light in which the whole cosmos, the waking, dream, and sleep state of all the jivas are being illumined by this spiritual light. This spiritual light is all pervading. Its nature cannot be comprehended by the human mind, but it exists. So in the dream state, I am the illuminating principle of the mind with impressions of the waking state. Again, an adhyasa is happening, a superimposition is happening. What do I am superimposing? I am superimposing the entire dream state and on me, the Atma. Then the third state, the most important state, the most unknown state, the most confusing state is the sleep state. But if you understand the sleep state correctly, you are liberated here and now in this very minute. Why? Because avidya is the sleep state, ignorance. Ignorance is what is called as mula avidya. Normally, avidya means ignorance can be of two types. One is called as tula vidya. Tula vidya means I am ignorant about the objective world. Physics, chemistry, English, history, geography, everything. That is called as tula vidya, objective world. And the second is I am ignorant of the subject, the turiyam, the pure consciousness. That is called as mula avidya. So, because I don't know the external world of physics or medicine or whatever it is, I am ignorant. Okay, that is not a problem. I can learn it like an academic. I can go through the sciences. It is objective science. I can do it. I can learn. I can remove the ignorance of a particular area. Not all. We cannot become knower of all. But that is not the topic here. The topic here is, in Sushupti, I don't know one fact which the Shruti is trying to teach me. That fact, if I know, I can get rid of samsara for the rest of my life. In this life, plus the past life and the future life. What is that small thing? That is, I am the witness of the sleep state. I am a witness of the sleep state is one line you have to remember throughout your life. Because if you remember that, you are free. All the time you are free. Why? Because they say in Mandukya Upanishad verse 5 and 6, we will be taking these two for meditation in the next 2-3 sessions because it's important. I've already prepared it, but I didn't want, we will be doing it in the next 2-3 sessions. And the next 2-3 meditation sessions will be on the same topic of realizing the Atma beyond the sleep state. So coming back to your question, the Adhyasa in the sleep state is the most difficult Adhyasa to cross. This Adhyasa means superimposition, that I am the Atma is the truth. But the sleep state, when I get up in the morning, I say, I was the sleeper. I didn't know anything. So what happens is, I again superimpose that sleep state to myself. That Turiyam I, that I am Atma, the pure consciousness, is called as Turiyam I. It exists all the time as pure I, without the 3 states of the mind. The three states of the mind is the jiva. Whenever the mind is active, the individuality comes in. When the mind is passive, the individuality is an unmanifest condition. Who are you? Whatever your mind is thinking, that's what you are. Whatever, each one of us, that what the mind is thinking is Adhyasa. That is what Shankaracharya says in Adhyasa Bhashya. Remember that you are not the mind, but you are saying, I am the mind. You are not the body. You are saying you are the body, and you go through your life, whole life like that. I'm the body, I'm acting, I'm the mind, I'm suffering. In the sleep state, you are not the sleeper I. You are the witness. You are the pure consciousness. So drop your Adhyasa in the sleep state. Automatically, then you'll drop your Adhyasa in the waking and in the dream state. This knowledge, once it goes deep inside you, then you will say the entire waking state is a state of ignorance. Waking state is a state of ignorance because the cause of waking state is avidya, the sleep state. Where do I get this proof? Mandukya verse number 5 and 6. It clearly says the sleep state is the cause of the waking and the dream state. If the sleep state is avidya, ignorant state, the waking state is also the effect, which is nothing but avidya state. I don't know myself in the waking state. There is nothing wrong because that is the way the creation is. Similarly, I don't know who I am in my dream state because the sleep state is the cause. Cause pervades the effect. The dreamer will never know the truth. The waker will never know the truth. The sleeper will never know the truth by himself. We all have to go to the Shruti to understand who am I. With this type of logic of Adhyasa, superimposition, I can come out of the superimposition very easily. That is what is Adhyasa. Ram Kumar, is it clear?
Yes, yes, very clear. Thank you.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
I got one question.
Yeah.
This it's a last week issue, right? As you were saying that we can't analyze the dream.
You can never analyze the dream in the dream state. You can never analyze the sleep in the sleep state, but you can analyze in the waking state, who was I in the dream or in the sleep? So the realization happens only in the waking state. Everything, our knowledge is only, the whole Brahma Vidya happens only in the waking state. When the mind is in the sattvic state, when the mind becomes pure, this knowledge of I am the pure Sakshi, if it is given to the right mind, the mind will pick it up. The pure mind will pick it up. The impure mind will not pick it up because the impure mind will still say, how is it all possible? How is it really possible? Because your mind is not pure. If a mind is pure, you will accept it. Oh, fantastic. I have understood. That's all. There's nothing more. I don't need any more classes. I am free right now here. Okay, Uma is asking a question. No Veer, no mind. The mind is Maya in which Jagat exists. I am not Maya, so I am the Veer. Is this correct? Yes, you are right. The Veer you are talking in Tamil is nothing but consciousness. Without consciousness, there is no mind. Mind is, the consciousness is the substratum, the holder of this mind. The mind comes and goes. Mind today was like this. It gave me a projection of this movie. I'm a nice person. I did a good thing. I did good seva today. It is a projection of the mind. All thoughts only. Well, last week, it gave me a projection. Oh, I'm suffering. It's all COVID time. Everybody is suffering. It's again a projection of the mind. What you are, without this without this consciousness, without this life, the mind cannot project at all. The dream world comes and goes in this consciousness. The waking world comes and goes in this consciousness. If I know this and I hold on to this pure nature of mine as the light of consciousness, let the mind think as per the prarabdha of the body. The body will go through certain actions and certain thoughts. Accept it as a part and parcel of this world and remain to be free all the time.
Yes, Shekharji, because we never doubt about the existence of we, but we hardly think of it because we are living too much in the mind.
Yes.
So
Now,
when I
that is why the study of Upanishads or these lectures will help you again and again to, whenever the mind is in trouble, it will remind you. It will remind you again and again, it will remind you. Don't worry, Uma, this is not me. This Uma of the mind, which is called as the Pramata, the knower, the experiencer, Uma is not the real Uma. The real Uma is the pure consciousness. It is always there. It has always been there.
these days the mind does seem lower and smaller, and and
Yes,
the
you are
consciousness
right.
and weird seems
Yes.
like the only thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Now you are realized it. Yes.
Yes.
The mind appears to be insignificant, lower nature. This weird, this consciousness, this life seems to be now bright, and it seems to be overwhelming the small little mind.
Yes, very true. It's happening.
Thank you. Yeah, Sama.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hariom Shekharji,
Yes.
like always, you are like that spiritual tour guide, taking us through this extraordinary Himalayan adventure of where what is interesting is you take us to the top of one peak, so like doing one Panchadasi, the chapter 10. But then you suddenly see there are so many other peaks, which need to be taken the journey of.
Yeah.
So, well, that is what you're doing, and I'm content and happy with that. I just have a very small question, which, you very nicely referred to Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja. That particular shloka, you very nicely also says Sarva Dharma. And I just wanted you to list again, please, because you said it too fast. The dharma of the Sthula Sharira, the dharma of the
Sukshma Sharira.
Sukshma Sharira, and the Karana Sharira. There are three separate listing.
Yes.
If you wouldn't mind just listing that again, please.
Okay. The dharma of the Sthula Sharira means the dharma of the gross body.
Mm-hmm.
What is the dharma? Dharma means what? It is the nature. It is the nature of the Sthula Shariram to be born, to exist, to have diseases and die.
Asti Jayate, all the six.
The six modifications is the dharma of the gross body, which is made up of the gross elements. The five gross elements after Panchikaranam, from the Tamoguna comes the gross body. This is one realm of the creation. So nothing is going to happen if the body is burnt or buried, or nothing is going to happen, because it's just a sthula shariram and you are not at all connected with it.
Correct.
How it appears? It appears because of the law of creation which is happening in the world. So I am the pure consciousness. I drop the dharma of the sthula shariram. It is the nature of the gross body to be born as per the law of karma of punya papa.
Correct.
So sthula dharma is gone. Sukshma sharira. Sukshma shariram is the mind. Mind along with the prana, along with the intellect, the dharma of the mind is it will go through joy and sorrow. That is the dharma. It is the experience of the joy and sorrow belonging to the sthula sharira.
So that's on all the three layers, isn't it? In the thoughts,
Yes.
ideas, emotions, all of
Correct.
those.
It is the perceiver, feeler, thinker. In the body, the gross body is a gross house.
Feeler.
In that gross house, there is a jiva who is living. That jiva who is living is the perceiver, feeler, thinker. So the jivas is this perceiver, feeler, thinker. The nature of this mind, the sukshma shariram, the dharma of the sukshma shariram is it will take a body, it will drop a body. So don't be worried about the drop that also. Drop the dharma of the sukshma sharira.
Correct.
Then the last dharma is very difficult to cross. Why? Because I don't see that at all. At least this sukshma shariram, I can have some experience of emotions and being thoughts and perceiving the emotions. All that at least I can see. I can experience it. The sukshma, the karana shariram, the causal body, it is a storehouse of all the punya papam, which is totally adrishtam. It is not, it is invisible. Your punya papam is different than my punya papam. Uma's punya papam is different than your punya papam. Because of your punya papam, you are living in London, you are living and experiencing whatever is the sukham and dukkham of that place and your surroundings. Similarly, Uma's is different, Barb's is different, Bharatesh is different, Ganesh is different, Sornam is different. Each one of them, our punya papam, for which we have taken this body, for which this sukshma shariram exists, our individual accounts are very, very different. So, what the 66th verse of the Bhagavad Gita, the most important verse of this whole Bhagavad Gita to realize the Atma is drop the dharma of that karana shariram also. That dharma is as per the law of creation. It will keep going on. I don't bother about it. Is it possible? That is a big question mark. Can I be in this body and still learn to drop the sthula identification, learn to drop the mind identification, learn to drop the punya papam karana sharira identification? Is it possible?
No.
This is what is the question, which many seekers feel that it is not possible at all.
Yeah.
But the Shruti says it is possible. The Shastra says there are realized masters who are able to drop the three and say, I am a Jivan Mukta. I am no longer the three sharirams, the three bodies, and the three avasthas. I am not that. So it is possible to shift the identification from the anatma and remain as Atma, because remember one basic fact. The anatma has no existence by itself.
Yeah, right.
It's like the virus.
Yes, it has no existence by itself. It depends on some body to remain. So without that I, the Atma, the light of consciousness, the pure consciousness, this is the fact which is what Lord Krishna wanted to teach Arjuna in the 18th chapter. You are the light of Atma. You are that pure light in which there is no anatma.
Good.
Anatma doesn't have an existence of its own unless until you are there. The light. So that is why I'm saying, even now, who are you? I am that pure light. What is this class going on? This class is, it is a part and parcel of the Kshetram. It is the dharma of the Kshetram. It is the dharma of the waking state of all of us. In this, I remain to be aloof. I can drop the nature of, by knowing that this waking state, dream state, and sleep state, they're all dependent on me, the Atma, the pure light, the spiritual light.
Right. Yeah.
Without that spiritual light, there is no waking state, no dream state, no sleep state of the entire cosmos.
Yeah.
This is where we have to have faith in the Shastra, accept it initially, even though I may not understand it fully. You accept the principle, and then you see whether your intellect slowly changes and says, yes, 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 yes. All the Shastra is telling, all said in the Panchadasi 10th chapter is 100% true.
Yeah. So just really one last question, allow me to ask, is say wearing this coat of the Sakshi eye, which is, I understand, same as Turiyam eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I wear this coat and I go through my Vyavahara and do all my spiritual sadhana wearing this, because that is really what I want to claim. So therefore I shall wear that. Yeah. That
Yes.
coat. Yes. Now, with this, doing my spiritual sadhana, all the various elements of it, and the key of it is the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. The question which I have it about Manana is the active contemplation where I could be expanding things, I could be dissecting things, classifying things.
Yes.
You know, so whatever, like
that keeps on today, going automatically. It is happening internally in your mind. You don't have any control because your Shravanam has increased 100-fold.
So this is really something which will happen naturally. I cannot.
Naturally, it will happen naturally. You let it happen, and and slowly it will get resolved, and it will get convinced one day and say that then there will be no more projections in your mind. It will all quieten down.
While in the Nididhyasana, we are actually doing a completely opposite process.
Yes.
In the spiritual sadhana, which means we have narrowed it down to actually whether it's Omkara or whether it's Aham Brahmasmi. So we narrow down to one thought process, one singular thought.
Correct.
Aham Brahmasmi, yeah.
Yes.
Prajnanam Brahma, any of
any
those,
thought, yeah.
Yeah. So we actually have summarized it. It can just simply be even Om
Yes.
Vichara.
Absolutely.
Be
just be Om. Let that Om sound reverberate again and again in your mind.
So, and in that time, if the contemplation is coming up, the reason I'm asking is because quite often it can happen. Suddenly there is a deluge of thoughts which will be coming because you've been doing a lot of manana otherwise.
Yes.
And that seems to impinge at a time when you actually don't want it.
At that time, remember again Om.
Okay.
Chant Om.
Okay.
Chant
so
Om.
Okay, so this helps in removing that because it's counter
That's correct. Yes.
process, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So
whenever this happens, tell yourself, let me chant Om again. Let me go back to my roots.
Yeah.
Let me go back to my roots. See, this is the Adhyasa. This is the practice of the mind, which Lord Krishna teaches in the 6th chapter.
Right.
Whenever the thoughts are taking you outside Om, bring it back to Om.
Okay. And quite often, which I'm just asking whether this is correct, where the mind effortlessly of its own, it just is in a stillness mode, you know. It is almost as if even if you try to think thoughts are not coming. You're wide awake.
Absolutely. Remain quiet.
Yeah, no. So it is just, I mean, many times you think, oh, I want to think this and I want to think that, but it just will not happen. The mind refuses.
Yes, yes.
So that is stillness.
Yes.
And the silence is the only thing you can witness.
Correct. You see, what happens then is, whenever you come out of that silence, then you ask that question, your mind will ask the question, oh, I was the experiencer of that silence also.
What was that? Yeah.
That's all. It will only answer, I was the experiencer of that silence. I means Sakshi.
I want to know what was that? Why was the thought
Yes.
not there?
No, that thought is because of so many factors. Your mananam has been fulfilled. Your nididhyasnam is complete. Now you are in the path of pure awareness, bliss as your abidance. You see, this is what is called as abidance. It takes time. Yeah, Sakshi abidance. I remain a Sakshi. Now, this practice will help you in your waking state also, because it becomes the nature of the mind to go back to this and remain a Sakshi all the time.
This is just one slight question. How is this Sakshi witness principle different from the Buddhist mindfulness of watching mindfulness? You know,
in the Buddhist watchfulness, you are still different than the Sakshi. It is not that the mind and Sakshi has become one. You are still the meditator, and the meditated. What they say is they are observing the thought less state. There is still Dvaitam.
Okay, get it, yeah. Thank you.
That Dvaitam is what you need to drop.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Rohit, any questions from you?
No, Shakti, nothing
Okay.
from me.
All right. Chapter 10, Panchadasi was different than what you have learned before?
Yes, very much. Actually,
Okay.
Shakti, I joined a bit late for the class, so I will be needing to watch the first half of the lesson.
Okay. Anyway, no problem. Just watch it. Next week, we are going to start the chapter 3.
Got it.
Which is the Taittiriya Upanishad revision. That's all.
Okay.
Hariom Shakirji.
Yes, tell me, Murali.
One small doubt is there. Like for realizing, we require the self-efforts and the grace of God, Ishvara, both are important.
Yes.
So now all along we have been repeatedly reading in Panchadasi and other texts also to negate everything. Negate everything and keep on going, negating.
Yeah.
And finally, what is the only faculty which the Anatma has to really remove, or we can use the faculty to realize that self? Because you have been negating everything and we will be left out with nothing.
Correct.
Then what is the faculty which we have right now in this birth where we can use it to realize ourselves? Is there any faculty available?
No, you see, ultimately you're still using your mind, but you're only using a pure mind that time.
Okay.
You're not going to drop your mind 100%. You're going to retain there's some disturbance.
No, some classes are going on.
Oh, Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
nearby. Yeah, please.
You're sitting
Sorry.
in front of the school or something. Okay.
Yeah, near the class. Some
Okay.
karate classes are going. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So basically what is happening is that you still using a mind, but you're using your pure mind, a sattvic mind.
Okay.
You're not dropping, you see, without the dropping your, what you have dropped is the impure mind.
Right.
So with your pure mind, you're saying, I am the pure Sakshi. Because Sakshi gets reflected in the pure mind.
Right.
Okay.
So Chitta Shuddhi is very important for this.
Yes,
The
Chitta
purification
Shuddhi
of mind is very important.
Correct. Yes, Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata. Purity of mind and oneness of the focusing ability of the mind.
Right. So it means out of so many things we learned about the gross body, causal body, and subtle body, this is the only component which we can very cleverly use it to realize. Mind is the only component, or buddhi,
Absolutely,
you can say.
yes.
Subtle buddhi. Subtle
Correct.
buddhi can be used very cleverly
Yes.
to, and all other things we have to negate.
Correct, that's right.
Okay, Shakti. Thank you.
Thank you, Murli. Yeah. Anybody else?
Singaji, I got one question again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we say that dreams as mithya?
Dream is 100% mithya. Mithya means what? It is appearing, but it is not real.
Illusion.
Yes.
Oh.
So dream is mithya. Mithya means it appears, it is not real. Exactly like waking also. You see, suppose you say, I am the Sakshi, I am the pure light. With reference to this Sakshi, the pure light, the waking is also mithya. The entire experiences, I was born, I got educated, I got married, I studied, I was young, I was middle-aged, I was old. All this entire thing is mithya. What is Satyam? Satyam is the illuminator, which has not changed at all. I have two natures. One nature is this body and mind, which has grown. It was young, it became old, but that is not my real nature. The second nature, which is the illuminator. Whenever the body was there, the light was there, which was illuminating. Right now, the light is there, illuminating my thoughts. It is illuminating whatever I'm listening is because of that pure light. So, because of this study, the intellect will be able to discriminate between the light and the anatma. It will happen. 100% will happen. Just keep on listening. Let that thought keep on coming in. I am the Sakshi. I am the Sakshi. So to answer your question, dream is mithya, waking is mithya, sleep is mithya. And what is Satyam? What the only Satyam is I am the Satyam. I am the light, the spiritual light. Again and again, I'm saying it is a spiritual light. You must remember it is a spiritual light. It is a very powerful light. It is the light which can illumine matter. See, I am seeing my body. Body is matter made up of 5 elements. But the seer of this body is not made of 5 elements. The body I see, that's all. The external shell I see. Internally, there is a heart, there is a lung, there's a digestion going on, there's breathing going on. All that is going on. Internally, I know my emotions. So that is internal. So internally, I know my mind, my thoughts. For example, tomorrow, what I should do, I make a list. I write down in a piece of paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. While doing it, I may not realize it. But suppose you have emotions and say somebody told you something, somebody insulted you. Immediately you'll say, oh my God, he insulted me today. How can he do that? So all the emotions, they start building up one after the other, one after the other. And then you suddenly realize, oh my God, I am just going after my own mind's build-up. That is what is called as mithya. The Shruti does not negate the experience. Shruti says you will experience. You will experience. Why you will experience? Because that is prarabdha karma. Don't get carried away by prarabdha karma of the mind or the body. Let it go on. Let it go on. That is why I say that it is possible. Believe in the Shruti. It is possible to live this life as a free person, not identified with the Karana Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, Sthula Shariram. It is possible. Jnanis have done it in the past. You are a jnani. You know the scriptures. You can do it. Okay, it's quite some time. Thank you. Good night. We'll meet next week. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Shakti.
Thank you. Thank you, Rohit.